Hi, good evening, everyone. I was on Facebook a little under an hour ago, and I saw something that really grabbed my attention that I feel as though is necessary for me to express to the public and the severity of the issue that is at hand, not only in Miami and Houston, but also here in New York, in the New York City tri-state area, in certain neighborhoods. There is an insecticide that's being sprayed here in New York City late at night. And a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting here in this very same spot studying for, I think, my mental health exam. And I heard this loud noise, and I also heard a loudspeaker saying, you know, this is the New York City Police Department working with the Department of Health. We are spraying insecticides to help prevent and combat the Zika virus. Basically paraphrasing what the message was saying, the pre-recorded message. It was so eerie. It felt like something out of The Walking Dead or Outbreak, like one of them things. Like, if you're on the street, please go inside your home and, you know, close the windows if you do not wish to have. Like, I'm sitting here like, what? I didn't even know that this was occurring. There was no notices in the mail. There was nothing on the news, and there was nothing posted around the neighborhood. Some of my neighbors said, oh yeah, I saw one that was down the street. But, you know, if you're going to be spraying something into the atmosphere that is really close to people who, into a community of people, it would be nice to notify the public properly. Now, the chemical that they're using to spray to combat against Zika is called NAILD, N-A-L-E-D, NAILD. And NAILD was created in 1959 to ward off mosquitoes that contained the Zika virus. Now, the Zika virus was found in, of course, y'all already probably thinking it, in Africa, in Uganda. They found it in a monkey called the rhesus monkey in 1947. So this virus that they found in Uganda in 1947, they came up with a chemical to combat it. Now, this chemical NAILD has been banned from Europe. I believe they said 2005, I believe, since 2005, 2007, something like that. GMO is also banned in Europe. They don't participate with the whole GMO thing. I just thought that I should just put that out there. There's a lot of drugs that is legal, that is on that's FDA approved, is not approved in Europe. And I just think sometimes once people obtain certain information, certain knowledge, it's important to spread it. A lot of us like to, you know, oh, okay, well, good to know. And then don't say anything. And then people are not aware. And that's why I do what I do personally. Because I believe that the public should know what's going on. We have children, and I was outraged to know that they were just blowing this chemical into the air, to the point that I stood up and I yelled out the window with police driving by. I really didn't care if they got out or not, because what they're doing is wrong. And I couldn't really, at that point, my frustration level was just beyond gone. Okay. So some things with the chemical that I want to share with you, I just want you to take it in and understand exactly what neurotoxicity is. Your nervous system basically controls your body. Conduction, muscle contraction has to do with your nerves. And when your nerves are shot, or they're not working, the synapse is not there, Chemicals are not transpiring to make certain parts, just to make your hand do this. Your brain is sending chemical messengers out just to make your hand do this. So imagine what it's telling you, what it's telling your lungs to do. Imagine what your nerves is telling what your heart to do, what your kidneys to do. You know what I'm saying? Everything there, it's a buddy system. Everything works systematically, okay, in our bodies. Without the nervous system, we're nothing. That's why when you have, God forbid, you have someone who's a quadriplegic, more than likely they cannot breathe on their own because they have a cervical injury. And if you have a cervical injury, depending on at which vertebrae that the injury occurred, you won't be able to breathe on your own. You would need you need to either be intubated and on a breathing machine, on a ventilator. So, with that being said, not only, our brain cells become damaged by this chemical to the point that it causes a lot of things. Okay? When you're done messed up your brain cells, your astrocytes don't produce again. And astrocytes is is a key thing as well to Alzheimer's disease. And once you lose those, you tend to regress. You lose the ability to do certain things. You forget your memory. That's why Alzheimer's disease and dementia, it's a degenerative disease. It doesn't get better. It gets worse. So, neurotoxic substances are as follows: chemo, radiation, heavy metals, certain foods, anytime you eat too much of anything, it's not good for you. Some insecticides and pesticides, cosmetics, makeup, things that we put on our body, lotion, whatever, those are considered cosmetic things for our skin. Cleaning products, and it's difficult to avoid. Okay, it contains mercury, lead, other chemicals that create insecticides, chlorine, and formaldehyde. Now, imagine you're just trying to get relief from a hurricane that totally wiped out everything. So now you have standing still water, naturally, so that this will be breeding grounds for larvae and mosquitoes. Okay, yes, I understand. You want to figure out a way how to keep everyone infection free. So let's just spray everybody without even saying the word of this horrible chemical. Who cares? I don't want to get bit. So let's just spray them up. But make sure you put your N95 mask on and your protective gear when you're preparing it, because you don't want that stuff to get on you. So my question is this: if the people who are prepping this stuff have to wear protective gear to the fact that you're wearing N95 mask. An N95 mask is used when a nurse has to use, or doctors have to use, dealing with people who have tuberculosis. Okay, it's airborne. So this insecticide is in the air. Okay, and they're wearing these masks that will not allow that to come in. But it's okay for me to just freely spray it on your food. It's okay for me to freely spray it in the air for you to breathe in. Now, your lungs is very, very delicate. Okay. Blood gas exchange, all of that occurs in the lungs, in your alveoli. Okay, in your lungs. Not only when you're breathing things in, not only are you exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide, you're also breathing in harmful agents that's in the air. And once it goes through once it exchanges, the gas exchange in your lungs occurs, it goes into your bloodstream. Just imagine what chronic long-term effects can do in these urban communities, because that's where where I live in a predominant Jamaican West Indian community, and they just drove through the neighborhood without even saying a word to us. So with nailed, the effects it can cause, the neurotoxicity can cause paralysis, altered sensation, meaning numbness or tingling in your fingers and toes, in your limbs, headache, vision loss, OCD. It can cross the placenta as well, so if you're pregnant, pay attention. Chronic fatigue, ADD, chronic sinusitis, your allergic response when anything is trying to enter your nose, your nasal passage, your sinuses become inflamed to ward off trying to burn off the infection. So that's what happens when your sinuses become inflamed, but it's chronic. So now they're chronically inflamed, and that causes a problem. Long-term effects also will occur with behavioral problems will occur, sexual dysfunction, depression, loss of circulation, imbalance, flu-like symptoms, asthma that does not respond to treatment, to certain therapies, aggression. Just imagine being aggressive all the time. Okay, that alone they say leads to Alzheimer's disease. Long years of chronic aggression can lead to that. It destroys your astrocyte cells. And of course, seizure, coma, death. The half-life of this drug, meaning how long does it last, like up until like half of that point, what's the half-life on it? The half-life in water is a day, okay? And in soil, it's a half an hour. But if it's been exposed to like a bright light or too much darkness. So like in the evening time would be perfect to be spraying this stuff all around. You know what I'm saying? I just want people to understand and just look outside the box. Think outside the box for a minute. They're doing this without even, giving us a heads up. Okay, they're they're fighting off mosquitoes that has a virus that they probably created themselves, and then gonna blame it on the blame it on the motherland, and then create something to kill the mosquitoes. But it's killing you too, because you know why? With the exposure to this chemical, it will cause disease. And if you're causing disease, well, guess who you got to go see now? You got to go see the doctor. Go see the doctor. The doctor's going to write you out a prescription. And what's the prescription going to do? It's going to make pharmaceuticals a lot more richer. And a lot of this shit is probably going to kill chemo. That's what chemo is neurotoxic. If it gets underneath, if the line gets infiltrated with the chemo going into your vein, if the shit gets infiltrated underneath your skin, it will burn your skin. A nurse will instantly lose her license. That's how deadly chemo is. Okay, these are things that I just want us to think about. I just had to break that video down. They talking about our kids having attention deficit. Why? Why is this happening? And then the first thing they want to do is say, "Oh, we're gonna give them some Ritalin, Ativan, something to just make all you relax and sit down." But you know what? If Zika is going to cause me to practice, make me want to continue to practice safe sex, because that's how it's transmitted through blood. Okay, so you could get Zika from having sex unprotected. So you still have to protect yourself, trying to combat Zika. You get bit, all right, so now you're the carrier. So you might not know you're the carrier, but then you'll pass it on to somebody and it will affect them. So the best thing to do is protect yourself during sexual intercourse, okay? So if I get bit, I'd rather take my chances with Zika taking we than all of that taking us and my kid. Like, come on. Like I said, I am a conspiracy theorist. Maybe I am. I don't like to label myself too much, but maybe I am a conspiracy theorist. But guess what? A lot of this stuff makes sense. I just want us to pay attention and just think outside the box a little bit, because we can't continue to go like this and want to shut off what's really happening, especially when we have kids of our own. Okay? Time to wake up. I'm sorry. Wake up, Neo. It's about that time.